Guys, it has been a crazy morning. And in case you did not know, they're doing a lot of road work on I-75 because the people from TDOT, which also stands for those dummies over there, decided it would be a great idea to shut down I-75 to one lane from Ooltewah to Shallowford Road on Mother's Day weekend. Yeah, not the smartest move, I got to say. We have come in here on two wheels, and we are ready to go this morning, guys.
Jody hasn't quite made it here yet, and apparently there's something going on here at the Manufacturers Road exit.
Yeah, but fortunately we're joined this morning by Angel Sherlin from CMG Mortgage. Angel, how are you doing this morning? Well, we were joined by Angel this morning.
I'll try it again.
All right. Angel, how are you today?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Awesome.
Good. We feel like we've ran a marathon this morning just trying to make it in.
It sounds that way. Good thing I'm at home.
Yeah, and Jody's behind us somewhere, so we're not quite sure where she's at right now.
Uh-oh.
She's currently listening.
Yeah. Okay, Angel, so we know the big thing everybody wants to know this week is what is going on with interest rates and the Fed hike.
So they met Wednesday, and they increased it 0.5 point. Mm-hmm. So right now we're running about mid-5s for the 30-year fixed rate. For the conventional loans, FHA somewhere in the high 4s. So really we're still doing good. The last 20 years, I was doing some research on this and looking back, and the last 20 years, we have been running less than a 6% rate. So the first of the 2000s were in the mid-6s, somewhere in there. So we're kind of back where we were in the early to mid-2000s. We're expecting, the Fed talked about expecting raising the rates probably another once or twice this year, maybe 2 or 3 times next year. But they've got their finger on they don't want to create a recession, so they're gonna really watch that, and so they may not be moving it up as much as we had anticipated. They're just not really sure right now, so they're watching it, and they're going to keep us updated as we go along.
And then what is, I know you don't have a crystal ball, but what is the anticipation for what interest rates will be this year? So
I still, this is just my opinion based upon the research that I have done. My opinion is they will be increasing it more this year, and we're probably going to be somewhere in the 7 to 8% range is what we expect.
By the end of the year?
Right, by the end of the year. They're going to meet, they're supposed to be watching it again in September in the fall, and so I think we'll have a few more hikes by that time.
Okay.
But yeah, and I know go ahead, Angel.
I was just going to say, again, I was doing some research over the last 30 years, and so this is just kind of some historical information. So in the 70s, the rates were like somewhere around 9%. In the 80s, they got up to the 15% range. In the 90s, back down to somewhere in the 7 to 8% range. And then, so for the last 20 years, for what a lot of people didn't know, that we've been under that 6% range. So if you've only been around 20 years, you're not really used to these interest rates. But if you've been around as long as we are, these rates are really still good.
Mm-hmm. Right, honestly. Right. These are not high rates. They're just higher than what people are used to over the last couple of years.
All right,
That's
everybody.
right.
We've got a caller on the line. Tom, how are you doing today?
Doing great, thanks. Appreciate the show and the discussions you have. Interest rates. Did you say you predict that they would be around 7% this year for mortgage? 30-year mortgage?
Based on what they're saying, the feds are talking about raising the rate, yes.
Wow. So what's that going to do to the building market?
I'm sorry, what did you say? I couldn't hear you.
The building market. I think that, this is Cindy, I think that the building market's kind of getting a double whammy here because not only are interest rates going up, which means buyers' buying power is going to go down a little bit, but you also have the cost of building materials that keep increasing. So the builders that's still going to be a tricky market, but they've been dealing with a hard market now for over a year because of building materials. So hopefully, if the interest rates slow the market down a little bit and help pull inflation into line, that will help with the cost of building materials for the new construction.
Yeah, and that's the thing I've been considering and watching. I bought property with the intention to build a couple of years ago and should have done it then, but didn't foresee all of this coming. But right now, I'm just sitting on the property.
Yeah.
Getting it paid for.
And I'm going to be honest, I bought property with the exact same intentions. And like you, I've not broke ground because I was watching building materials. And then when materials were where they should be, life was too crazy to break ground on it yet. So I'm in the exact same situation. But here's the thing, even if you do go ahead and start, if you do a construction loan, then you can always refinance later. So if interest rates do come down, in the next couple of years, you can look at refinancing. But I agree with you. It will probably make us look at our decisions a little bit more and make choices so that we don't come in over budget or splurge on any upgrades that we might have before.
Right. My concern is the two things. There is running out of money or building a house that's way worth more costs more than it's worth. Excuse me. So I felt a whole lot better about just sitting on it. It interrupts my plans and delays my plans a little bit. But if I can pay for the property, that can offset the building of the home.
Right.
And another thing, if building materials were the only issue, you might can cover that. But with everything tripling in price, and don't fall for the trick of, it's only 2%, 3%. It's 10% or more, because what they tell you on TV doesn't include the inflationary costs of food and fuel. They back that out for some reason, just to make them look good politically.
Right.
But when you have some things that are more than 10% inflation, it's everything combined together that knocks you out of building that home, unless you just have the money. I mean, if you have the money to throw at it, then go ahead, and if it's going to be where you stay, go ahead and do it. But anyway.
And then the only other option would be a construction loan that is a one-time closing. If somebody did that right now, they could lock in at interest rates today and not have to do a construction note, then a permanent note. There are some loans out there that are construction to perm, which is one closing.
Yeah, that's what I would look for, and if of anybody who offers that,
Angel,
I'll
is
give
that
you
something?
my phone number offline.
Okay, Angel, is that something that you offer?
No, the only thing we offer is to lock the permanent rate. You can lock up to 240 days on that. So we do offer a long-term rate on a property.
Yeah. That is something. We do have one of our vendors that does offer that. So, yes, we will get your number, and I will get that information to you, and that is something that you may want to consider. But you also want to make sure that ask how long that lock is for, because builders are taking a little bit longer to build than they used to, because it is getting hard to get subcontractors to show up when they're supposed to. So just make sure that you are prepared for delays. But I think that when you do the construction to permanent, that it's a 1-year loan. It's a 1-year lock. So you've got to finish the construction within a year, and then it just automatically rolls into the permanent loan.
Okay. Yeah. I'll give you my number when we hang up here. And I'd like to talk to them.
Yeah. Perfect. Jesse, I'll get that from you, and we'll give you a call back, and I'll give you that information.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Tom. All right, guys, we're going to say we're in a quick break. We want to thank Angel Sherlin from CMG Mortgage for being with us this morning. Angel, if anybody has a question they need to ask you, how can they get a hold of you?
423-421-7900.
All right, Angel, thanks so much for being with us, guys. We're going to step away and take a quick break and try and get ourselves back together from the crazy drive-in this morning. This is Real Estate Today with Cindi and Jody on Talk Radio 102.3.
WGOW. Informed talk.
The people of this country need to educate right now.
Talk Radio 102.3. WGOW FM.
Have you been diagnosed with an underlying thyroid issue but are still having symptoms? Or do you suspect you might have hypothyroidism but you haven't been diagnosed yet? These symptoms are vitally important because it could be your body telling you that something is still wrong even if you've been medicated. Symptoms like brain fog, weight loss issues, digestive issues, hair loss, and fatigue. And take it from me, I know exactly what it's like to have an underlying thyroid hormone issue but being told everything is fine because the right labs were not being done. Hey guys, I'm Dr. Rebecca Warren from the Wellness Radio every Saturday from 10 to 12 and Thyroid Expert. And I want to share this resource with you that I give to every single person that works with me, my free Optimal Thyroid Lab ebook. Now in this ebook, it's all the tests that you should be getting done to start getting down to the cause and to help your body to function and heal well. You can find it on my website at drrebeccawarren.com. Again, that's drrebeccawarren.com.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FREE for a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's promo code FREE. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FREE for a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's code FREE for a $5 bonus.
Talk Radio 102.3.
Welcome back to Real Estate Today with Cindi and Jody on Talk Radio 102.3. Guys, had a great little bit of information from Angel Sherlin from CMG Mortgage this morning on kind of what rates are doing right now, kind of where they're expecting. We wanted to touch real quick, since we're past the first week of the month, we kind of have some good solid numbers from last month on what's happening in Hamilton County and the Chattanooga area.
And just a little bit more on the interest rate real quick, Jack, is I know interest rates are going up, but there's a reason they're going up, and hopefully that this is going to get the housing, the pricing a little bit under control, and we're not going to see as many multi-bids and things like that, because we do need the market, or want the market, to calm down just a little bit. I know over the last year it's been a very difficult time, especially for in certain price ranges. People are making, several offers before they can even win a bid, and people waiving inspection and appraisal contingencies. So the fact that the market is, that the feds are cooling the market off is not necessarily a bad thing. I do think that we need to drop down just a little bit. Don't you agree, Jack?
And I agree. I think the biggest thing is what we've gone through within the last 3 years has been really unprecedented. Probably since the early 1900s, coming out of the last major pandemic, which was the Spanish flu at the end of World War I. Then you roll right into the Great Depression, and then we've been on an upswing with nothing major going on internationally around the world, and then all of a sudden we have a major one, and nobody really knows how to cope with that.
Mm-hmm. So. But and like Angel said, the interest rates still aren't bad, and if you're renting, then renting is 100% interest. So keep that in mind, that it's still not a bad time to buy. And if for some reason we do get into interest rates in the future back in the 3s or 4s, that you can always refinance. You just have to kind of weigh out what your closing costs are going to be, how much you're going to be saving monthly. And if you know you're going to be in a home for a short period of time, that may not make sense. But if you know you're going to be in a home for a long period of time, then refinancing makes sense down the road.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I think one of the neat things we saw out of looking at all the numbers that came out for Hamilton County, Chattanooga, prices still went up from March to April, but not as much. They only went up across Hamilton County by roughly about $3,000 on the median home price. Chattanooga itself actually went up 15. So that was a big jump between the two. Chattanooga City actually saw the highest increase of pricing compared to Hamilton County. But all in all, that still stayed in line with nationally what we're seeing on the appreciation so far, which has been in that low 5% mark. So we're still keeping up nationally, which typically we tend to be, when good things happen, we tend to be right in line with the national average, and usually when bad things happen, we tend to be a little bit below the national average on that side. So that's kind of helped us out a lot in this market.
And we did see quite a bit more new listings for the month of March than we did in April. And I know nationwide, National Association of Realtors was reporting that we actually have 2 months worth of inventory on the market now, which is quite a bit different than what they were talking about beginning of the year.
Yeah, and that's a big thing, is seeing how we compare nationally to the state. And we're still a super hot market. I mean, we're starting to see the effects of the rate increases on the fact of a slowdown. We've kind of always hoped for a little bit of a compression. We just need the homes on the market to be the thing that changes to where there are more homes coming on the market. But until you actually start ramping up new construction, generational turnover, things like that, that's going to be the big key factors kind of fighting that right now. Ain't nobody really, where are you going to go when you do sell? So those are all the things that we're fighting right now, and across the country and worldwide too. When you look at people that do international markets, things like that, that's still a concern in a lot of places.
Well, and as inventory picks up, it's going to make it a whole lot easier to determine where you're going to go when your home goes under contract. So the more houses on the market, the more you have to choose from, and it just makes it a little easier to work with it.
Yeah, and that kind of leads us into the next thing we wanted to cover, is we're starting to see, with the return of numbers starting to come out and things being finalized, is we're starting to see that increase in multi-generational housing.
Yeah, since in 2021, we saw 1 out of every 10 home buyers bought a multi-generational home. And what we mean by the multi-generational home is you have more than 3 generations living in it. So you may have, a couple with their children and maybe grandchildren.
Yeah, and I think that's been a big thing. And we've seen those increases ever since kind of COVID was starting to come into play. We've seen that number tick up a lot over the last 2 years especially.
Yeah. They say that multi-generational has quadrupled over the last 10 years. Families living in multi-generational homes has quadrupled. And that's one way too, that people, there's a lot of benefits to it, because when you're looking at house payments, if you have more people in a home that are helping contribute, that puts less financial burden on each individual family.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is, in the U.S., it's not been a predominant type of housing situation, but in other countries, it's a very, very common thing to have several generations living in one home, one large home, or in one compound, farm, things like that. And kind of as we industrialize, we went away from that and having those multi-generations in one household. So we're starting to see a return of that.
Well, and I know my generation, a lot of it is happening kind of because we have parents that are aging and moving them in with us, so that just kind of naturally happens. But then families in your generation, Jack, that have young children, that's really helpful if you have grandparents under the same roof, because then you have somebody helping you with the schedules.
It is, and a lot of times you have parents that or grandparents that have kind of moved now, that have that opportunity to be around the grandkids a ton, and that's something they kind of get to redo when they had their kids to an extent, and not have a lot of those worries. So that's a neat thing to be able to do.
So some of the advantages to the multi-generational is combining household budgeting, of course. So like I said before, that way you've got multi-families helping with the budget. It also helps care for any members, whether that be children or aging parents. It also helps with flexibility. So if you're wanting to go back to school or something like that, it makes it a little bit easier. And then it also kind of enhances that bond, that family bond, whenever you're all under one roof.
Yeah, and I think that's the important part is just trying to figure out how all that works together inside of the family. You're going to have stressors, but one of the big things about it can also kind of help, have an impact on your mental and physical health too, because it's going to help. It can cause some stress, but it can help take a lot of stress away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd love to have somebody living in our house that could help with the lawn work and the laundry and that would be kind of nice.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's always a great thing to have. So I know for us, we did that with my in-laws, and it was a lifesaver because my wife was transitioning out of college. We had just had our daughter, and it was an amazing opportunity for them to just have a grandkid around.
Mm-hmm.
So they absolutely ate that up completely.
Right. And then an easy way to create a multi-generational family would be just to finish the basement with separate living quarters.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of, and I've actually had several clients last year and this year that are looking for that mother-in-law suite, that additional apartment where they can have grandmother, one of the kids come back home, things like that. Because it's not always about bringing a parent in. Sometimes about bringing that adult child home to give them a chance to do the things that they need to do to figure out what they want.
I'm not sure we have that statistic here, but I know that's extremely high, the adult child coming back home after college.
Yep.
And because that goes into because the first-time home buyers and that affordable housing is really getting pushed out of the market because of the cost of housing and the lack of builders being able to build in that price range. But yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the big things. There's a lot of people, kind of the biggest group that was buying this past year was kind of our generation is just a little bit younger, kind of that first-time home buyer. That was the main home buyer bracket.
Yeah,
was in that 26 to kind of 42, 45 range right there. That was the big number.
Mm-hmm. My generation fell into the biggest group of sellers, and I think that's because my generation is our children are graduating college and we're downsizing.
Yeah, I think it's a big thing for a lot of people in that age. They're upsizing, multiple children, trying to find something that fits family and just getting to where you want to be. And a lot of times in that price range, you have career moves that need to be made. And are those moves driven by a job change, things like that? And that's kind of where that multi-generational comes in, because you can step back, sell your home where you need to be, have a place to go for a little while you get things in order to be able to move to another place.
Yeah, and when you're doing the multi-generational too, another good thing, you could do a finished area over a garage. At an apartment. If you're going to do any type of detached structure, you do want to make sure that your HOA allows for that. Yeah. A lot of them will not allow you to have separate living quarters on the same lot.
Even though your detached garage could work as an apartment because it's got the space, it doesn't mean they'll let you do it.
Right.
All right, guys, we're going to step away and take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to kind of get into, since it is Mother's Day weekend, what are some things that you can do to be able to get your home up and ready for mom to show up tomorrow, and things you can do that are going to add a little bit of value and fun to your home. This is Real Estate Today with Cindi and Jody on Talk Radio 102.3.
Oh, sure.
After filling up with hours of information online, on air, on demand, and on topic, now it's your turn to talk. Reaction to stories big and small, universal and local. Here, 102.3 FM, WGOW.com.
Hey, this is Quake for my friend Kay Keefe. She's a third-generation plumber, so like her father and her grandfather before her, they've been taking care of Chattanooga's plumbing needs for 70-plus years. And now the temperatures are up, so we're getting outside again. And if you start noticing leaks on hose faucets or wet spots in your yard, you need to call Keefe Plumbing, 622-3178. That's Keefe for Relief, 622-3178. Now would be a good time to have your plumbing system checked for leaks. They can fix clogged toilets to sprinkler systems and anything in between. Call Keefe Plumbing, 622-3178. Don't forget, they're the leak detection pros at Keefe Plumbing, and they've been to my house half a dozen times, and they're always so respectful, tidy, efficient, and any project we've had for them, they clean up after they're done, and it looks like it never happened. When you're the best plumber in Chattanooga, you take care of business, and it shows. 70-plus years of taking care of Chattanooga's plumbing needs. Keefe Plumbing, 622-3178. Call Keefe for relief, 622-3178, and tell them the Talk Monster sent you.
Don Ledford in Cleveland's pre-owned department is a great way to save on a new family vehicle. Don Ledford Automotive has over 150 quality pre-owned vehicles right now, and over 120 of them are SUVs, trucks, and vans. Plus, they have convertibles, coupes, sedans. No matter what you're looking for, go see Don Ledford first on North Lee Highway in Cleveland or at donledford.com. Home of the Red Tag Savings, where they say yes to quality pre-owned vehicles.
Bragg Wellness and Weight Loss Program is coming to Chattanooga. Bragg Weight Loss is a safe, effective, maintainable program that guarantees a 20-pound weight loss. Call 423-219-5677 or go to Bragg with 2Gs wellnessandweightloss.com.
Doctors Nathan and Rebecca Warren from Chattanooga Family Chiropractic have helped hundreds of people take back their health and live their life to their fullest potential. Here's what one of their patients had to say about his experience.
This is Jeff Alger. I just wanted to say thank you so much to Dr. Nathan Warren and Dr. Rebecca, and wanted to thank them so much for the wonderful care that I've received. I was in a severe head-on crash in 2016. Thanks so much to the care of Dr. Warren and his wife. I am able to function well and work out at the gym at least 5 days a week. My pain is minimal, and he has taught me so much over the past years, and I am so grateful for that. I appreciate you guys so much, and God bless.
Whether you had an accident like Jeff or suffer from regular wear and tear, Doctors Nathan and Rebecca Warren can help. Chattanooga Family Chiropractic, located near Hamilton Place next to the Home Depot. Call for your appointment today, 423-362-5360. That's 423-362-5360. And tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. for the healthiest 2 hours on the radio.
The market roller coaster is back. Find out what it means for your retirement on Retirement Straight Talk with Morgan Hill, Sunday at 10, right here on the Talk Monster.
Talk Radio 102.3.
Hip, hip.
Hip, hip. Welcome back to Real Estate Today on Talk Radio 102.3. So, Jody has finally joined us today. She has made it through the cluster on I-75.
I just want to thank whoever decided that full-time interstate work on a holiday weekend was a good idea.
That's the same thing I said when I came in.
I mean, absolutely ridiculous. I'm just thankful that I was able to give you guys a heads up at enough time that you could get out of it. But at some point, I literally just,
yeah, I'm pretty sure there's still a state trooper looking for me on I-75.
I'm just sitting, so it is what it is. And I'm actually driving Steven's truck, and we know if you combine my luck and my driving record, going through a median, something of that sort was not an option.
Yeah, you're safer sitting still.
I was. So
Most
glad to
definitely.
be here. Sorry I'm late. Better late than never, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, guys, we want to get a chance to talk to you guys about what are some of the things that you can do to get your house ready for Mom to come over if you're brave enough to invite the family over for Mother's Day, but also some of the projects that are going to be able to add a little bit of value and a whole lot of fun to your home.
Mm-hmm. And especially we are in the spring market. The market is picked up. We do feel the spring market. Time to get the yards ready.
So when you guys go to a house, and I know I'm kind of the same way, what are the biggest things to make you not want to go into a house?
If you pull up
or make
and
you cringe.
If you pull up and the landscaping and everything has not been maintained and looks good, then it kind of just sets the tone for the whole.
I was going to say, I think really if that first impression is of, deferred maintenance and that you just haven't, I think the outside really is that first impression. If it looks worn and not cared for, then immediately that kind of sets the tone. No matter how great the inside is, you've already kind of got a bad taste.
Yeah, it's a very inexpensive way to get your home ready for the spring is mulch and pull those weeds.
Yeah, absolutely. And we tell people that's not a huge expense, but sometimes it's just as simple as turning over the mulch you have.
Flipping the mulch.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even have to go out and purchase anything, but just mowing your grass, but weeding and edging your lawn and those things make a huge difference just in curb appeal.
Yeah, wash your porch and your sidewalk and maybe your driveway.
A pressure washing. I mean, pressure washing. I think pressure washing, mulch, cleaning out your gutters. I think that's a huge, I hate to say red flag, but that's pretty indicative of we've got some deferred maintenance issues going on straight out of the gate. So it makes you wonder if they don't take care of the outside are they taking care of the things that I can't see? So that's absolutely, from a real estate point, that's not the first impression.
Yeah. And then moving beyond the front door, getting to the back of the house, your deck.
Mm-hmm.
Just go ahead and get your deck cleaned up.
And I don't care who you are. A couple summers, your deck needs some love, no matter who you are. So, and no matter how good you take care of it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the biggest thing with decks and things like that is get them pressure washed, get them cleaned. If you have areas that don't see a lot of sun and they tend to grow a little bit of mildew and things like that from the moisture over the winter, go ahead and get that cleaned off. That's a big thing just because of the look that it gives to the home, that you want to make sure that you don't have things like that. And I think another thing is, windows, go through and touch up paint. If you have shutters on your home, make sure those haven't faded out. Touch those up as needed. Give it that super clean present, because honestly, whether your mom, your builder, or a buyer, anybody like that, they're going to walk in and that's the first thing they're going to see.
Maybe
and trust
let your
me,
mom come look before you list it. That might be
no, I don't want to hear
what you need to do.
I do not feel like getting chased around the house with a flip flop. That is not going to happen.
Funny. And I think even outdoor living space, something as simple as creating a fire pit.
Yeah.
And I know at our office we put out some Adirondack chairs and created a little sitting area, and it made a huge difference in the way the backyard looks. I just bought all new cushions and pillows for
Cushions are an easy way to update your outdoor space without spending a whole lot of money. Now, cushions aren't cheap, especially if you get ones that are going to last a few years, but that is a real good way to update them.
I was pleasantly surprised they make some, cleaning materials now that we were able to salvage a lot of the actual cushions just by spraying them down with the solution that you let sit, and then you spray it again, and it takes all that mildew and mold off of them. So, a really easy way to change the entire look of not just your backyard, but your whole house, and really make it feel like that area is usable and something that you're going to enjoy.
Sure. And it may be time to update some of those colors. So now we're seeing the trends are a little more neutral. So you're seeing the beiges or the grays or even some blues, but solid blues. We're moving more away from the reds and the...
It's funny, we literally just had this conversation at our office last week because several of us were replacing outdoor furniture and cushions and that sort of thing, and we all had red and gold and green stripes and that sort of color, that jewel tone color palette, and we all went with muted blues and navies and whites and neutrals. So good way to
we redid with navy for the pool. So we
that's what I did too. Yeah,
and I just finished putting together the last piece of new furniture for the pool last night. So yeah, that was fun.
And pools, we talk about it a lot, but even patio areas, that's another place that you really need to bleach down, pressure wash. Just you don't even realize that it's dirty until you do that.
Yeah, and the thing I think a lot of people kind of miss out on those is you have the option to do some color staining on those things that can be really pretty, that pick something that's going to last, to salvage what you've got before you have to replace it to buy a couple of years. But even just sealing the concrete.
And those are things we talk a lot about resale, but you want to enjoy your home now in the present.
Right.
So that is never going to be a bad investment, because it's just going to, I don't know about you guys, but when the outdoor space is nice, you use it.
Yeah.
And we, like, for example, have not really, the weather's been okay, but we haven't really been outside that much. We redid everything outside and cleaned everything up, and we've been out there 4 nights in a row. It's much more inviting, and you use it. And then in turn, it may not bring you money back, but it's going to help you sell.
Yeah. Yeah.
And especially
you have
in a market,
that joy factor.
Yeah. And in a market that's changing, that we know is changing, you need to start thinking about ways to kind of put yourself above somebody else.
Yeah, and I think one of the things we've started thinking about, because we have it, I had a lot of people within the last 2 years that are moving from out of state. I can't wait to get my Tennessee room. I'm like, Tennessee room? He goes, yeah, the screened-in porch that then walks out onto the deck.
Yeah.
So, like, and around here, we're a 3-season area, so you can use a screened-in porch, 3 out of the 4 seasons of the year, and that's always a great thing. Even if you don't have one, to add that, to enclose a deck and then add a screened-in porch. That was the first thing when my parents moved back to Tennessee from Florida. That was the first thing that they had done, was actually to screen in half of their deck and turn it into a screened-in porch. Those are great ways, because it gives you a totally separate living area that typically doesn't get as dirty as everything outside, that you can turn around and decorate, and it gives it that inviting hangout feel. Because ultimately, when someone comes into your home, you want them to feel comfortable. You want to feel like they don't want to leave, even though you want them to after 20 minutes or not. You want to have every part of your home, you want to be inviting.
Screened-in porch or covered porches are great in this area.
Well, and that's another thing, just a side note, the realtor in me. If you're going to build a sunroom, so a sunroom is enclosed. I know we think that that's common knowledge, but, a screened-in porch is like it sounds. You have window screens. As a sunroom, those windows can be opened or closed sometimes. Sometimes they're affixed.
And typically the room is heated or cooled.
I was just about to say, for goodness sakes, if you go to the expense, add a little bit more and heat it, because in order for us to consider it as finished square footage, it has to have a wired heat source. So it's a little bit more of an expense, but it's much easier to do on the front end, and it's worth it as far as resale is concerned.
And you can use one of the ductless systems. You don't necessarily have to tie it into your main system. You can put one of the ductless systems like you see in hotels
wired,
or something.
Split units, wall units, wired baseboard heaters. And it's funny because they don't mention air. It has to have a wired heat source. So, but just that's something, if you're going to spend the money, that's where it helps to seek someone's guidance. You don't want to spend money on your house unless it's just purely for your joy. If you're putting money in it, if there's something you can do specifically to get it back.
I was shopping for ceiling fans this week, too, and I was shocked at how many outdoor ceiling fans there are.
Thank goodness, because you see those that are droopy on people's porches.
The big box stores have a ton of outdoor ceiling fans now.
Yeah, and a little just knowledge there. Don't put an indoor ceiling fan outside. Talking about things that make you not want to go in a house.
Yeah, it's not going to last more than a year or two.
They don't withhold the weather, so when you see those fans that are drooping and hanging, it's because they have an indoor material ceiling fan outside.
Yeah,
and
that is not wood. That's normally MDF, which is basically paper that's been glued together. So once it gets any type of moisture, it automatically starts to come apart.
Spend a little bit extra
and even
money.
if it's covered or screened, you're still going to get some moisture.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about outdoor kitchen areas?
Oh, I love
big
them.
outdoor entertaining areas.
Love them, yeah.
And they're getting easier to do as they're making these modular systems. So you can do the outdoor cooking, and they look like they're built in, but you actually can bring them in during the winter. So
that's one of those things to think about too. I know I keep saying that, but think about what you're doing on the front end. Because, for example, ours is across the backside of the yard, so it's great to use, but somebody didn't think about carrying everything to it. So if you're going to do that, and that's the only place you can do it, make sure you think about putting some sort of refrigeration in or a sink or something so that it makes sense.
And again, there's outdoor appliances.
Absolutely. Don't put the range that's meant for inside outside.
Or even the refrigerator, the mini
Literally,
refrigerator. Make sure you're getting outdoor stuff.
Someone gets electrocuted by the pool. That's
they make everything from ice makers to refrigerators to anything like that for an outdoor cooking area. Water-resistant televisions for an outdoor entertaining area.
Yep.
Yay or nay?
I think if you're going to have one outside, on a permanent, if you're mounting it, it's going to be out there. You have to do an outdoor, and they are pretty expensive.
I think, again, worth it, though. Now, they do make boxes. I did have a client that had sold, and it's literally an outdoor box that you slide your TV into that protects it from the elements. It's
kind of like a plexiglass or something.
Yeah, and it's not as
might
pretty,
be able to find
but
a lot
it
of this plexiglass that we're going to be getting rid of now that people are not boxing in their desk and everything.
True. Yeah, you can get all the COVID shield
plexiglass.
And make yourself a TV case. But, it's not as aesthetically pleasing, but it does the job. And it was really neat. They had doors on it that closed, so it looked like part of the outdoor space. So really, really neat. But lots of options. And again, that is one of the places where it's worth spending a little bit of extra money and using materials that are meant for outdoor use because you're only going to get one season out of them.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is when you come in on the front side of that, plan that out and what's it going to look like in 2, 3, 4 years, because if you've had a stainless steel grill and never put a cover on it, they don't last more than a season or two. Just from the weather. So you want to make sure you protect whatever investment you put out there. Make sure you take the steps on down the road to take care of that stuff.
And how to understand how you take it. Like Joni, one of our coworkers, bought all new cushions for her pool. We were all talking about that, and she was laughing about the previous year. A bunch of theirs didn't. When you flipped it over, they looked completely different colors because part of them were not outdoor. They were not meant for outdoor use. So the ones that are more expensive obviously held up better. And so that's just one of those things that nobody wants to spend $40 on a pillow, but if you get 3 years out of it, it's worth it. So
yeah, and a lot of times, if you know you're not going to be using it for a while, pull it out and actually put it in storage. That's going to buy you some extra
they
time.
have the deck trunks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I
those
saw
are very
outdoor
easy.
furniture the other day that literally has a cover that comes out from it and covers it up. And I thought, well, goodness, that stuff's expensive. If you're going to spend it, you might as well,
Oh, yeah, definitely. Guys, we're going to step away and take our last break for the morning. When we come back, we're going to finish talking about the things that you can do to get your house ready. And we want to wish you guys a very happy Mother's Day when we come back on Real Estate Today with Cindi and Jody on Talk Radio 102.3.
WGOW. The issues that matter in our city.
By staying silent, we're part of the problem.
Talk Radio 102.3, WGOW FM.
The Cookie Jar Cafe in Dunlap is great home-cooked food served from a vantage point of beautiful views of the Sequatchie Valley, mountains, and the Cumberland Plateau.
It all overlooks a real working farm, and the farmland is now open where you can see the animals.
The Cookie Jar Cafe is the real deal when it comes to great food. Located at 1887 Kelly Cross Road in Dunlap. It's Mama's Cooking with $1 million view.
Dine inside, on the porch, outside under the pavilion, or at the numerous picnic tables. Plus, it's strawberry season. Be sure to grab a delicious strawberry tort or slice of strawberry pie to end your meal. Curbside takeout is still available. It's good Southern cooking at the Cookie Jar Cafe.
Friday morning at 9 a.m. We'll even save you some money by making the Cookie Jar Cafe our sweet deal of the week.
Just log on to WGOW.com and get 2 $25 gift certificates for the price of one.
It's good Southern cooking at the Cookie Jar Cafe in Dunlap.
When it comes to all your plumbing needs, I trust Southeast Total Service to get your household back to normal fast. Their revolutionary blue light technology will fix problems from inside the pipes instead of digging up your yard or driveway, saving you a ton of money on repairs. So for all your residential and commercial plumbing needs, I'm talking drains, sewer, clogs, water heaters, and toilets, call 499-2911 or Google Southeast Total Service, everything plumbing.
There's nothing like hearing the songs you love on local radio with no subscriptions and no monthly fees. But there's a new bill in Congress that could stop the music. If passed, this bill would tax your local radio station simply to play the music you love. Text LOCAL to 52886 and ask Congress to support local radio stations. Help us keep you connected to the music, local news, weather, and traffic that you need each day. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FREE for a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's promo code FREE. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FREE for a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's code FREE for a $5 bonus.
Talk Radio 102.3.
Welcome back to Real Estate Today with Cindi and Jody on Talk Radio 102.3. Guys, it's been a fun morning. I'm anxious to try and drive back and see if that's gotten any worse.
I think back is good. Here was the problem.
Yeah, I'm just not interstatey right now. Yeah. That was not fun, from having to pull a U-turn through the median at Ooltewah and then drive back to Cleveland and come down 11 and then try.
You can
to
always
get
go back
on
to
the
Dayton.
interstate.
Yeah, you go the long way.
I gotta do that next weekend.
Yeah,
Bring us-
next
bring us
weekend is
down
the Strawberry Festival in Dayton.
That's going to be fun.
we'll be
Everybody
there.
put that on your calendar.
Yeah, and Cindy and Jody will be there signing autographs.
And they have
Certain
festivities starting like this next week. I mean,
think
like
an
starting on
entire
like
week.
the entire week. All kinds of things going on. So check out their Facebook site. But next weekend is the Strawberry Festival.
Yeah, lots of opportunities to get out, and I think it's supposed to be pretty.
If you're only
Things
picking one
change.
day, come on Saturday. That's when all the food vendors are there.
Yep. Best day to show up.
What is it? Milk chugging contest.
Strawberry
and,
ice cream eating and milk chugging contest.
Jack and
Now,
I'll be making
I'm
an
not
appearance.
sure if you have to do both or if you can do one or the other. Because if I win the ice cream eating contest and I don't have to stay for the rest of the day, I'm definitely doing it. But if there's milk chugging involved in that, no, I'm not going to happen.
Yeah, I've seen enough YouTube videos for the milk chugging. That's not going to end well.
Ew,
No.
Who thought that was a good
I was
idea?
thinking more of like going for strawberry shortcake and all the different types of strawberry cake.
I wonder if
I'm not gonna be
Mayfield got
participating in
involved
that.
in this and that's why they do that or what. I'm not sure how
You
that
could
came
be
about.
right.
That's very possible.
I would think so. Yeah.
You know, what's funny is we talk about Mayfield Dairy here. One of my jobs right after I got out of high school is I actually helped build the Bluebell ice cream plant in Sylacauga, Alabama.
Yeah.
And that was fun because they would actually truck in to this dilapidated milk plant. They would send a Bluebell truck once a week to fill up this old janky 1950s chest cooler full of ice cream.
I like it.
Yeah, no, we all stayed sick.
I was gonna say, I love real estate, but I could be persuaded if there was ice cream involved. I might have to put an end to this career.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I love it. It's been a crazy week in a good way. We were talking a little bit about I overheard while I was sitting in traffic. I was listening to Cindy and Jack talk, and I think one of the benefits, if we're looking for a silver lining, is in maybe the interest rates coming up a little bit, is we're starting to see house prices chill out a little bit, which is not a bad thing. And we were just laughing during the break. I'm a listing agent. I work exclusively for sellers, and sellers don't want 27 offers. Contrary to popular belief, that sounds like fun, but it's not. It's overwhelming.
No, they want one good solid
buyer. So, the goal of a seller is not to get 27 offers, contrary to what you've seen on TV. But I do think that if there is any silver lining, historically, those higher interest rates make prices chill out a little bit. And we are starting to see that. These crazy over ask price offers, we're starting to see some appraisals come back, knocking people back down into reality a little bit. So there's always a positive. We've been through it before. We'll make it through it again. And it doesn't, we talked about it before, it doesn't feel like it did back then. So I heard yesterday, somebody said, well, when this bubble busts, I think there's not a busting
The huge
bubble.
difference is this time, one, it's not going to be based on lending, but buyers are bringing a lot of cash to closing, and they're paying the appraisal gaps, and they're coming in very financially strong. That's very, very different than what it was before. So even if values backed up a little bit, which we don't anticipate that happening, but if values backed up a little bit, it's a whole lot easier when you've put money down on a home rather than
and
rather
we were
than
seeing
owing
people
more.
that wanted to sell, and they had had a home equity line of credit and a balloon on a mortgage, and we were in a position where we were like, you've got to bring $5,000 to closing. That's the best we can do.
Well, real estate is predictable. I mean, it's always an up and down,
Pendulum,
but I mean, it's always going to you're going to see appreciation. So if for some reason prices do back up a little bit, then just don't sell. Wait a couple of years until you're back on the positive side. And I mean, it absolutely will come back. I mean, 2009 and 10 showed that. I mean, we recovered from what happened.
And I think that was as bad as it gets. So,
Yeah, there were several years because I bought the house. We bought our house in 2005. We built our house. So there was several years there that we had a negative equity. So, I mean, absolutely, real estate is a safe investment. Things will come back. But I don't think we're in a bubble this time.
I don't.
I mean, I think we have some inflation and we need to calm it down.
Buy what makes sense and know going in that you may be in a situation where you have to hang on to it for a while.
And if you're buying something that you know is a short-term investment that you're going to sell in the next year or two, then you need to keep that in mind when you're looking at homes, and you need to pick what you're buying accordingly.
Yeah, don't refinance. Don't, bring money to the table if you can.
Oh, yeah. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in today. We would like to take the chance to thank every mother out there. Very happy Mother's Day. Cindy and Jody, especially to you two. Guys, we will talk to you next weekend on Real Estate Today with Cindy and Jody.
Make yourself at my home. Tell me where you been. yourself something cold, baby. Cheers to this.
News, weather, and traffic on time.
This is an all-hands-on-deck moment.
WGOW FM, Saudi Daisy, Chattanooga.